This is Dr. Michael Lorenzen, Western Illinois University Special Collections and Archives, and today is the 17th of October, and with me today is
Bruce Ackers from Archives, assisting Dr. Lorenzen.
Brandy Snyder, age 34. This is the property I live on.
Okay, and just go ahead and tell me what you've been experiencing out here in Brooklyn, Illinois.
Okay, well, I guess it all started from the pictures that we've got. It's saying May of 2020, but I believe it started before then. We were noticing like just weird sounds at first. It started out as whistling from one side of our trailer to the back of our trailer to the other side of our trailer. And it was almost like one whistle, and then there was another whistle, and but all of them were different. And that's how it started. And then one night we were sitting and watching TV, and there was a big bang on the trailer to where it shook the trailer. And we all jumped up and ran out, and then I seen something drop down on all four and run towards our woods, which is at the back of our trailer. And that's what kind of got me a little intrigued on what was going on. It made me wonder, like, what the hell was that? Then there was like 2 nights later, I had come over here to Russ's camper. And, of course, it's like 20 feet from my door, obviously. And we had stepped outside his door, and off back over here, I want to say maybe not even 100 yards from us, there was something leaning against the tree with its claws out like a human hand, but you could literally see like the nails. And then it was all muscle bound, black, furry, and all I could see were like orangey color eyes, and it looked like there was pointed ears on it, and it had like the form of a human, like it was standing up like a human, but it had to be at least 8 to 9 feet tall. I have never seen a human that big in my life. He runs in to grab a flashlight, and by the time he ran in to get a flashlight and come back out, it had moved. We didn't know where it went, but we went down looking and trying to find whatever it was. And that's what got me intrigued on trying to figure out what it is that we have out here. But ever since then, we've been having like weird incidences. Like the last time we had a podcast come out because we had thrown out a couch because we got a new one. It was just sitting out here. And the arms on the couch were all shredded. None of our dogs are strong enough to shred it within a couple hours, literally. And they weren't shredded before we tossed it out. And then we come out and inspect more, and the cushions that were on the couch, there was one in our ditch by the mailbox, there was one across the street at the neighbor's yard, but there was also one that had been shredded going around our deck for where the pool is, going back into the woods, and even further back into the woods. The rest of the cushion was shredded. None of my dogs go in the woods. None of my dogs go in the woods. So I was like, I don't know what else to think of.
Could have been a raccoon.
No. Not after it rained. The cushions would have been too heavy for the raccoon to drag like that and shred. But I couldn't explain it. I really couldn't. But there's been several times, we've had several different instances. We had a bonfire one night, and we had a bunch of people out here. And I was sitting in a chair right here. We had heard some noises coming from the other trailer that's down here, just like a storage trailer. So everybody takes off and goes with machetes and lights and all that kind of stuff going down that way, trying to figure out what it is. I stayed up here. I'm like, I'm not chasing these things. They're not bothering us. We had a little bonfire going. I was sitting up here, and if you look back here by the end of Russ's camper, there's a pool, but it was up a little bit to like half shape. And back then the grass was at least, I didn't want to say like 2 or 3 feet tall. you can hear them moving around in the grass because we hadn't mowed it down. And while they were out there, I was sitting up here, and there was one literally playing peekaboo with me. Every time I turned around, it ducked down. And then I turned back around, not think nothing. Then I'd hear it moving again, and I'd turn around and it'd drop back down. It was kind of scary, but at the same time, they weren't messing with nobody. They were just like observing. I don't know. It was just kind of creepy. And then I hollered for everybody to get their butts back up here because I was not liking being alone. But like last night, for instance, I had taken my son to the emergency room because he had a spider bite and it was all icky. But we came home at like 6 o'clock this morning, I think it was. And when I pulled in, my headlights shined back here, straight back, and there were 4 sets of eyes. And it was like a pyramid. There was one that was extremely tall, and then it kind of went down. And the smallest one, I would say, maybe a foot off the ground. But all you could see were the eyes. And it was dark back there when there's no lights whatsoever back there. So the only light shining is the one from my headlights. I got creeped out. Everybody else got creeped out and ran inside. And later on that night, my son went and got in the shower. And I didn't hear it, but he heard it. It sounded like somebody scraping against the trailer. Well, come to find out, there's the markings that weren't there yesterday. Because I come out every day and check because we've had so many incidents. And then Mom, when she was here, there were times that she was wondering if somebody was trying to get in her window because she would hear the scraping on the screen, she would hear the banging against the trailer at night. And finally it got to where she wouldn't even sleep in her room because it was getting too creepy for her. And she was afraid something was going to reach through the window and grab her. But I can't explain it, but from what I've seen, it's kind of creepy, but they haven't hurt nobody. Richard told me that I need to keep the dogs in at night, but I gotta let them out to use the bathroom, so they haven't messed with the dogs either, which I don't understand, because if you look on the video on YouTube, you can see where when the dogs mess with them, the wolf retaliates. And I honestly believe that's what they are, wolves. Well, I guess that's what Richard would call them, as dogmen. But another gentleman that was staying here, we had the bathroom window open several times, and he's actually seen a face in the window in the bathroom as he was getting out of the shower and stuff. And then also he had stepped out the door and seen one drop down on all four and take off, which I've seen that several times too. But to explain it, it's a lot harder if you don't understand what's going on, if you don't see it for yourself. And then there's nights we've had bonfires, and Richard's been out here and we did the infrared and got a few pictures. But we haven't actually gotten nothing clear, broad daylight to where it's visible, you can actually see what it is. And I think that's the only problem that we're having, is trying to actually get a decent picture of it. A lot of the pictures that we have are from distance. But other than that, I don't know what else to explain. Like, it's just different. And being out here, and of course we don't have very much traffic really at night, so nothing really spooks it. But there were my friend's son that used to live across the street, he would wake up and there would be like deer carcasses laying in his yard. We never had any of that, and it's unexplained on where the carcasses and everything come from. We have no clue. And it's just unexplained things that need to be figured out. But I think that's all I have.
What were the deer carcasses like?
I honestly
see 'em?
didn't know. I didn't see them. But he was telling us about them. He said they were like full carcasses, like fresh killed. They were scraped up a little bit, but he said that they were just like in his front yard and don't know where they come from or nothing. But also there are some caves out back, not right here, but if you go down here to the gravel road, it goes down towards the cemetery. If you keep going on further back, down below there are caves that they have gone and looked at. And you can ask Richard about it. They found a lot of evidence and stuff back there. We don't know what, but I really think that's where they're coming from, or that's where they're living. Because it smells like, almost kind of like rotten flesh on top of wet dog with a skunk smell to it. I mean, it's like putrid. It's disgusting. But they've actually gone back and looked at some of the caves. Whether or not they went in them, I'm not sure. Because I'm too much of a chicken shit to go look myself. No. I ain't having nothing coming out at me. I think that's all I can think of.
Is there anything with like weather conditions, certain times of the year, cloudy or clear nights?
There has been a few nights that it's been pretty clear with the moon overhead that we've had encounters. There's been, it really doesn't matter. I know on the full moon it doesn't usually happen much. I mean, you'll hear a few things, but not much. Now, the last time we had a blood moon, it was almost like you can actually hear the snarling. Like, literally, I have a window on each side of my trailer in the living room that we usually have open. And at night, on the blood moon, well, I guess you would call it orange moon, whatever. I call it the blood moon. But we heard snarling out back. Well, when I went and looked, I couldn't find nothing. I couldn't see anything. And then there was a big bang against the trailer. And then once I go out again, something took off from the back of the trailer. And I hadn't seen it again within, I think it was like 3 or 4 days. And then we'd hear them you can hear them stomping through the woods. I don't know if they're stomping or walking, but it sounds like they're stomping because it's heavy foot. That's a lot of weight. We don't have anything that big around here. Yeah, we have cougars, but cougars and bobcats and coyotes, but nothing heavy enough to, like, sounds like branches snapping, like straight snapping in half. And then there was another night that we had sat out here and we could hear like banging on, like, where something was banging on a tree. And it sounded like knocking, honestly. But to knock against a tree to make that sound, you have to have a lot of strength. And something has got to be big to knock against a tree to sound like that. It was weird. Like, every now and then you'll hear weird noises that you can't explain, but I don't know. As far as the weather-wise, I don't really think it makes a difference. I haven't seen them more during we see them about almost every night. And then when it gets real cold, like during the winter, we didn't have any problems. We didn't see them, we didn't hear them, nothing. And that was weird. And then when spring hit is when we started seeing them and hearing them again. It was really, really weird. Because we went literally all winter. Because we go out in and out because we do a wood stove for wood heat. And so we'd be in and out all hours, all night, just to keep wood in the stove, keep it heated. And we never had any problems during the winter. And it was really weird because you would think that's when they'd be most active for food. But This last year we didn't hear anything during the winter. And then when spring hits, when it started getting more active and seeing and hearing a lot more things. So, I don't know. It's really weird. A lot of people would say it's weird, but it just comes as natural to me anymore.
Yeah, it's been. You said podcast. Did people come out from a podcast to talk to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Have they put that up yet?
Honestly, I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I don't know if Richard has or not. Because he's the one that sent him out for the podcast.
That's the Riverlands people?
I think so.
Okay.
I believe so, yeah.
I talked with them too.
Okay.
There's an
Yeah.
episode with me.
Well, there is. And see, I don't get on YouTube much, so I don't get on the podcast and stuff like that. But there was also one that I had heard from Richard making a podcast that involved Mom and Russ and everything in it and this property. And then they come out and did a podcast, but I haven't heard anything since then from
Okay.
them.
One of the things that I really enjoy that you can't tell from just listening to the recording here is just the believability of what you're saying
I
on your
know.
face is what you have gone in and seen.
And it's a lot of it is really unexplained, but just seeing it in person, it makes you wonder if you ain't crazy.
Yeah.
Because when I first seen it, I'm like, nah, I'm seeing stuff. I must be high. I don't know what it is. Well, but that I was stone cold sober that first night. So to this day, I really can't explain it because I haven't really actually seen, other than that one time, a full figured being. I don't know. I've never seen anything before like it. I just can't explain it.
Yeah, certainly there's something going on here with what everybody's seeing.
It's weird. It's weird. That's about all you can do is say it's weird.
Okay. Ain't nothing else. I'll go ahead and stop.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else right now.